What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. More Escape from Tarkov action, and jumping into another Teaching Tarkov video today. The goal of today's video is to talk about the meta, but maybe not what you think. We are going to specifically go over a couple of the most popular mods for your weapons. I think, especially with patch 12.11, this is something good to cover. Again, veteran players out there, you've probably already scoped this info out. But if you're just starting to get into weapon modding, or maybe just really starting to get good with your cash flow, you've got the flea market opened up, I think this is a good video to at least talk about what's best in slot as of patch 12.11. And I should put another disclaimer up front. This stuff changes. It changes pretty frequently. We had a couple of adjustments. I don't anticipate we'll have any adjustments for a while, so this should be good for a good portion of patch 12.11. Probably even some subsequent patches, that's a hard word to say, moving forward, but just keep that in mind. There may be something else added that gets a little bit better. They may do some adjustment on these as they have done in the past. So we're going to specifically talk about foregrips today. We're also going to talk about some pistol grips. In addition to that, we're going to talk about a couple of just spare attachments just to keep in mind to give you that extra little bit of boost. The one I am not going to talk about, and I should say this up front, is barrel mods. Not going to talk about flash hiders or suppressors. There are just so many. I'm going to probably do a separate video just on those. Try to break it down by weapon class and category. These ones are pretty universal for the most part. And I'll talk about some slight variances. There's some AK version stuff to some more AR basic items to pick up. Obviously, everything I'm going to show doesn't always fit on every single weapon, but these are definitely probably the most common that I'm going to talk about today. So, long intro, but I want to give all that info up front. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If it is, drop a like, drop a comment down below. We would appreciate all the support. I'm going to put the plug in. We stream on Twitch Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then randomly throughout the week in the evenings, EST. Links going across there in the description below if you want to come hang out with us on Twitch, talk to us about Tarkov, ask any questions. We're always willing to help. We also have a Teaching Tarkov series and playlist, so if you want to pop into there, great resource. We're going to continue to add and do a lot of these videos over patch 12.11. So we got a lot more planned, so stay tuned if these are helpful for you. With all that being said, let's jump into the video. Let's talk some attachments. All right, so as we jump in, I'm mainly going to be focused a lot of the conversation today on the foregrips. I have some pistol grips that I want to highlight. Again, this is just purely top of the line meta, the best meta in certain specific categories. So there are a ton of foregrips, there are a ton of pistol grips out there. I wanted to provide what is generally used as, again, the most meta, is going to give you the best bonuses with foregrips, and I'll talk through these. I'm going to talk about what's going to be best in certain specific categories. Overall, in recoil reduction and then ergonomics as well. With the foregrips, I also want to highlight a couple of really good subset options for you. That way you're not breaking the bank trying to get the most meta attachments. There are some really, really good ones that get used, I think, pretty commonly, and especially if you're just getting into the flea market or just getting a level 20, you're still using, I don't want to say more basic guns, but maybe using certain weapons to complete tasks. There are some good alternate options instead of dropping a whole ton of money on some of these that can be very, very expensive until you can open them from the traders. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm also going to highlight one trader, which is Skier. I'll just say that up front. He has some great weapon mods for you, surprisingly, in addition to obviously Mechanic. Mechanic really gets a lot, but Skier is a little bit of a hidden gem when it comes to weapon attachments, specifically foregrips, both at his level 2 and his level 3 loyalty. So keep that in mind. And then I've got a couple other little small mentions there, so let's jump in. First thing I want to talk about is going to be ergonomics. Okay, you have some really good options here. Two of the standout ones, and there's a little bit of a caveat to this, so let me blow these up for you. Probably the best ergonomic foregrip right now is going to be the Strike Industries Cobra Tactical Foregrip. It's giving you 9 ergonomics. It is also giving you 1% reduction in recoil. So this is a really good foregrip. Not super expensive, but a very, very good option if you're looking for a weapon that you just need to pump a bunch of ergonomics into. It is beaten out by the key mod, Vertical Grip. There is a caveat to this, though. Your Strike Industries Cobra Tactical Foregrip, this can fit on a lot of different weapons. It can fit on a lot of different rail systems, given the right additional attachment. So you usually have to buy like a 4 or a 6-inch rail for whatever, handguard that you're going to put on there. The key mod, for instance, though, the reason it gives that plus 10 ergonomics, doesn't give any recoil reduction, is it only fits on about 8 different foregrips. There is no additional rail or anything else you can put it on. It's only the key mod version, which again, it covers a good class of weapons, actually. There's some good ones for the AK. I think there's even an SVD one, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a great foregrip, probably one that's not purchased or used a whole lot. But a lot of times it's because it may not specifically be the best in slot for handguards. So just please keep that in mind. But this can be something that would be interesting. I am going to look to actually maybe make some builds in the future, trying to run this foregrip with the 10 ergonomics. That's a great boost. But that's kind of why I picked the Strike Cobra Tactical Foregrip over the key mod. Just because, again, this is a lot more universal. You're going to be able to put it on a lot of different mounts, a lot of different foregrips, and it's going to be really good for you. So if you're looking for max ergonomics, boom, plus 9, you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff that I can throw it on. Nothing in my stash currently that I can throw this one on. But plus 9, minus 1, that's where you're going to be at. Now let's talk about everybody's favorite. I'm going to say these are probably the best in slot as far as overall reductions. Really, really solid ergonomics. This actually competes with that Cobra Tactical, as well as recoil. So this Fortis Shift Grip, arguably one of the best, if not the best, and you can argue in the comments below, but one of the best foregrips that you're going to be able to find. Here's the specific key with this. Right now, even right now, these are extremely expensive on the flea market. If you have this opened up with the trader, and I'll check on that. It's a level 4 trader, I believe. It might be, I want to say it's Peacekeeper, because I believe you have to buy it with USD. It's relatively, I don't want to say relatively cheap. It's still expensive, but it's expensive. If it's expensive, if you're buying it on the flea market, a lot of it is because there are some weapon builds with Gunsmith that require this. Fantastic foregrip, though. Very much universal. You can do a lot with it. It looks really awesome, too. That doesn't hurt it. I'm going to point this out. This Magpul RVG foregrip. Again, universal. The one in black. There's also a desert color one. -2 on the recoil and +7 ergonomics. This is a great budget option. If you don't want to spend the money or equip the Fortis Tactical, this Magpul RVG foregrip is an insane value, especially in comparison. So please just keep that in mind. You get some really, really solid bonuses, and I think this is good. This is kind of put your little gold star on this guy. This is going to be a fantastic option for you if you're trying to make a really solid build, but not quite spend all the money to get the extra 2 ergo from your Fortis shift. When it comes to recoil reduction, there really are a couple of options. These are the 2 I'm going to highlight here. And if you're familiar, if you've seen these before, you've probably understand them. I'm going to talk about the RK2 first. -4 recoil reduction is the most you can get from a foregrip at this current point, but it comes at a penalty of 3 ergonomics. I will tell you, I do use this. I've used it on like the Ash 12, maybe an SA58, something that you need some pretty heavy recoil reduction on, especially when you go into fully automatic. This is a really good option. It's not the cheapest and definitely not the most expensive, but -4 is the best you're going to be able to do from a foregrip perspective if you're looking for pure recoil reduction. If you want to get really, really good recoil reduction and still get some ergonomics boost instead of a penalty, the Hera Arm CQR Tactical Grip is also just absolutely fantastic. Now, this does have a little bit of limitations. It takes a really long foregrip in order to get this, so you're probably only putting this on AR platforms, most specifically like your M4s, your HKs. I know there are other options out there from this, so before you go and purchase this, I would highly recommend that you do a quick link search to this and make sure that it's going to fit with your build, because it doesn't fit with all of them. But if you are looking, it is definitely designed for AR platforms. If you're looking for a good option, it does fit on the AKM that I have in my stash. This is great if you're looking for good recoil reduction with a little bit of ergo boost. You know, not super heavy comparatively. This RK2 is like really heavy for a foregrip, but just keep that in mind. But -3 recoil reduction, definitely top of the line here. This is a really good, relatively cheap option comparatively, and then again, -4 with your RK2. So a couple other standouts that I just want to highlight that have some very, very close and similar properties that I think are also really, really great budget options, like the RVG Black. So really the two up here is both of these Magpuls. This is going to be dependent on the type of handguard, again, that you're using and what you want to set it up with. But these basically are pretty much the same. There's a slight change. You get one additional ergonomics if you're using the M-Lock type. If you're using more of a universal type, you get one less ergonomics, but both giving -2 recoil reduction. This one +6, this one +7. You also have this Tactical Dynamics aluminum skeletonized vertical grip. These names are very hard to say, which also gives you -2 +6. These three are fantastic options, again, if you're looking for something to give you a good boost, but not break the bank. The nice part about these two Magpuls is, again, I'm going to talk about Peacekeeper, or Skier, excuse me. I'm going to talk about Skier. Skier has these available for you relatively early. So, again, I know I talked a lot. You're probably not doing a ton of weapon modding up until level 20 and you hit that flea market. But knowing where you can find some good options just to make some of your base guns slightly better, get some of those recoil reductions, get some of those ergonomics bonuses are going to be really beneficial. Again, these are three, I think, fantastic options to give you a little bit of both, put you right in that midline, and help make your builds a little bit better, again, without breaking the bank. So I highlight those, again, both the Magpuls. Again, do a quick link search to make sure it's going to fit with your specific handguard. Like these M-Locks here, they fit on like your MDRs, just base straight. You don't have to add anything. Your Magpul, your just standard AFG grip is probably going to need some type of, again, rail attachment to put on your handguard. Same thing with your Tactical Dynamics, but these two are universal for quite a bit. So keep that in mind. You can see, again, I have a few things. MDRs, Stim 9 actually can throw it on, so just keep that in mind. Some really fantastic things. So really quick, while we're staying on Foregrips, I do want to just jump over to Skier and talk him level 2 and level 3, just again to point a couple of things out. So don't sleep on the RK4. Another very good, very cheap option, +4 in ergonomics, -2 in recoil reduction. If you're really looking for pure recoil reduction, -2 seems to be pretty much the standard across the board for a lot of foregrips and is relatively easy to find. Typically, the changes come in your ergonomics. And again, showed you where you can get a little bit more in each. But RK4 is a great pistol grip to use with Skier at level 2. You have a couple of others. It's, this little guy and the Tango Down. This is another one you're going to find very common on a lot of Raider guns. Both good options. RK4 probably a little bit of a boost above it, but for 10K or even half the price at each of these, this is great to throw on early, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. At loyalty level 3, he gets the Magpuls that I was talking about. He gets all the beautiful colors of them if you want to do anything crazy. He gets the standard black one as well, which is really cool. He also gets the RK0, which, again, cheap option to get some recoil reduction, a little bit of ergonomics. He gets the RK1, which is also a personal favorite of mine. If you want to get that higher recoil reduction, don't care about ergonomics, this is another great option for him. So Skier is definitely a standout. We did a video recently talking about who you should level up. This gives Skier a little bit of additional bonus if you're starting to get into that weapon modding, especially if you can get there before level 20. You won't be able to with level 3, but level 2 you definitely will be. All right, let's jump in and let's talk about foregrips, or pistol grips, excuse me. Let's talk about pistol grips here. And there's only really a couple of really standout options. With these, it's all about ergonomics, all right? Here are the two that you're going to be spending a lot of money probably to get and to find. So pick your poison with these ones, but they both give you the same thing. -15 ergonomics, fantastic pistol grips. You have the AR-15 Narrow Arms Grawl S. This is an awesome looking hand grip, honestly. A pistol grip if you're interested in the looks of this. And then you have the HK Ergo PSG-1. Both are expensive. I know I say that, but if you are looking for pure best in slot, these are your two options. Top of line from an ergonomic standpoint, you can't do any better. They're going to fit with a lot of your AR platforms, your SMG platforms. Again, they're not going to be completely universal, but for many instances, basically anything outside of an AK, and you can do some modding and certain things to sometimes fit these. But you're going to have a lot of options to throw these on. Your mutants, all of the meta guns are going to take one of these two, and again, pick up whichever one is cheaper at this point, because they do the same thing, unless you really care about the look. So PSG-1 and your Grawl S, those are the two you're looking for. Now, when it comes specifically to AK-style platforms, you also have two really good options here. And one is actually better than what used to be one of the previous kind of meta ones. Everybody's probably familiar if you've played this. RK3 has always been pretty much the go-to, at least for me, on the pistol grip. Plus 12 ergonomics is absolutely fantastic. It has now gotten kind of pushed out of the way with this AGS 74 Pro plus sniper kit pistol grip at 14 ergonomics. So not quite as good as the Grawl and its PSG-1 alternate. But again, these are very specific to AK platforms. I think you can look to save yourself probably a little bit of money. RK3s can sell because, again, they are used in quite a few gunsmith tasks. But do consider if you are doing some gunsmith tasks and you need a couple of extra points of ergo, look for this AGS 74 Pro, and you can pick up an additional two. So those are the highlights there for your AK platforms. And the last couple of things that I want to just talk about, these are basically the same thing, and I just want to point these out maybe a little bit more for the newer players out there to not forget some additional little mods that are going to be relatively cheap that can definitely add a few extra points of ergos if you do your build correctly. So the first is going to be your front and your back flip-up sights. Now, I'm going to say a generalized thing here. Most front and rear flip-up sights will give you +1 ergo. It's not going to be a huge ton, but if you put both on, 2 points of ergos, 2 points of ergo. These are relatively cheap from the traders. I think these are like 4,500 rubles, so not very much expense at all. Again, I've got the front and the rear one here, so you can see. Do check if you are looking. You can certainly use just about any of these, though. Before you buy, make sure it does give this ergo bonus, because there are a few out there that do not still at this point. I don't know. It's probably done on purpose. But again, your M-Bus, that's the ones that I typically use. They come in black and in tan. Very cool looking. You can use them as regular sights too if you want to. But if you want to throw these on with your optic on top, again, get yourself a couple extra points of ergo. Great thing to be able to do. Charging handles is another great thing. And we really have two good options here that are going to fit your needs depending on your weapon class. You've got the AK Zenit RP1. Again, if you've played for any amount of time, this fits on your Val, most of your AK platforms. You can see your VSSs. Really good option, really cheap. Buy from the trader, and that +1 ergo boost, so very much like the front and the rear flip-up sights. Great option for you to gain some extra points. Now, as far as it comes to AR platforms, specifically, you got your Raptor charging handle. This comes in the standard kind of anodized black as well as a gray version. Both actually give the biggest ergo boost at +3. You can find some options to give +1 above the standard ones to give +1 and +2 ergonomics. You're not going to really break the bank either way that you purchase these, but these are great if you're really trying to build that top of the line meta gun. This is what you want. Again, this Raptor charging handle. So again, black or gray, both give the same ergo boost, but I like to just call those out because sometimes everybody focuses on the big things. Your barrels, your foregrips, your pistol grips, your stocks. Obviously, there's a ton of stocks out there to help make modifications. Be easy to overlook these little things that are going to just boost your weapon up just a little bit, and again, not break the bank, which is really nice. I'm going to just show 8,000 for mechanic, level 3, pretty cheap on the flea, so definitely worth the money if you're already building a $150,000+ gun. Makes sense. So I just want to highlight the prices on these really quick. The Grawl actually pretty cheap. Peacekeeper purchase for $133. Not bad. And again, same thing here. Mechanic. This is, I believe, a quest unlock or loyalty 4 level unlock. So you can definitely find these a lot cheaper, as almost always. with your traders than on the flea. Skier here coming in big again, 16K for this pistol grip, fantastic. RK3, these are actually pretty cheap. They're saturated out there pretty good, but again, Skier saves you half the money. So definitely, I also like to source as much as I can. Last little gun modding tip, and we'll close this out, is I like to source as much as I can from traders. The reason for that is, while some of it might be limited stock, it's going to give you a better option to build that gun quickly and efficiently if you can pull it all from the trader, because unless you're building a ton of guns at once or you're just having a really crappy day in Tarkov, that's going to make it a lot easier for you to get those items, get that equipment, go to build your base weapon, hit your weapon preset, bam, you make that one purchase, everything builds really easy instead of having to go and turn the traders off and, you know, do all the extra filter selectors. Sounds like a lot. Sounds like it's not a lot. I make it sound like a lot, like it's the biggest burden ever, but that is a helpful thing as you level your traders up that you'll be able to do as well. So covered foregrips, covered pistol grips, a couple of extra special little attachments. If this video does well, like I said, I will look at doing specifically a barrel attachment, flash hiders, and suppressor, I think, breakdown for some of the best in slot for the weapon calibers, if that is something you want. So again, drop that in the comments below if this was helpful. If there's anything that I missed, maybe I missed one, or one that's a personal favorite of yours with some specific stats that you know, maybe sells pretty cheap, that you can pick up, drop that in the comments below. Other than that, close this one out. Hopefully it was helpful. Thanks for stopping in. I've been Doc, Average Gamer, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.